consolidate under the vision that our founders had for us. We're not a perfect country, there's no question. But we must get rid of this dynamic that has existed in our economy since 1913, and that's the Federal Reserve, because they have corrupted us. They have taken our wealth. In fact, just the last 18 months, they've taken almost $28 trillion and stolen it from us. And here, this is a fact. I mean, you can go online, look it up. $28 trillion has been removed from the United States by the Federal Reserve and given to central banks, huge corporations, and media around the world. The money for TARP and the bailout and all these other things that were promised to us, we the people, to free up credit. Credit wasn't freed up for us. Try and go get a car loan. Try and go get a school loan. I mean, things are getting tighter and tighter. What we need to understand is this is being done by design. The money was taken from us, stolen from us, given to foreigners. It's not been given back to us. It's not available to us to borrow. This is the whole point. Hosni Mubarak in Egypt is a great example of what this whole idea is about. You know, we gave all kinds of foreign aid to Egypt over the last year, $45–50 billion. Well, look where it went, in Swiss bank accounts for him and his family. I mean, we're living in a sham world. This is what it's very, very difficult for us to appreciate and understand, because it's happening so subtly and the media is not reporting it, so it's being hidden from us. I beg every one of you to go and don't believe me. In fact, don't believe any of the people in terms of what they've said here. Do your own research, and you'll become passionate and about doing something. And this is what happened to me personally. As I started to try and understand what's going on with the world, it became very clear to me that it was the Federal Reserve funding all these organizations to destroy America. That didn't make any sense to me. I thought, why would the Federal Reserve want to take us down? Well, I think that it's very clear to anyone that looks at history is that all of the countries around the world are now being taken down one at a time, and it is creating destabilization and chaos. Well, remember, one of the great mottos of the Illuminati is order out of chaos, chaos ab ordinem. And this is written all over their literature. If they can create instability and create chaos, it simply gives them enough opportunity to come in and do what? Put a police state in place, to put this grid in place. You know, this is what Stuart was talking about, is that, you know, there's a tremendous amount of motion going on in the military, training them not to fight some Stone Age, turban-headed cave dwellers in Afghanistan. No, they're being trained for us. The FEMA camps are being set up for us. And the funding for all of this is from the Federal Reserve and the tentacles that reach out to the military-industrial complex that it supports both here and abroad. And people, you have to have three-dimensional thinking. You have to look beyond the surface, because the way that they are operating is beneath the surface. They're doing things in very clandestine ways. But make no mistake, what's happening to the dollar, the devaluation of the dollar, the rising prices, the inflation, all of this is being done through manipulation. This is not being done by some cosmic law. This is being done by a small group of men who have decided that it's time for them to take over the world. And if I had heard this 3 years ago, somebody saying this, I would have said, no, this person's crazy. This is absolutely nuts. The sad thing is, it's not nuts. It's not crazy. And everybody needs to pay attention to what's going on. People need to stand up. They need to get activated. And that's one of the reasons why all of us are here on this call, because each person here is offering a solution. And there's not just one solution. It's not just, suethefed.com. It's not just about being able to sue them in a large class action lawsuit and trying to bring them down and crush them under the burden of the justice system. But it's all of these pieces. Every single solution you're hearing tonight, each one of these things will help to shore up what's left of the American Republic under the Constitution. And I want to take our monetary system back to the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8. Congress shall coin money and set the value thereof. It's Congress that should be doing this. We should be spending money into the infrastructure and into the economy, not borrowing it from a private bank at interest. I mean, this is just craziness. So what I'd like to do is to suggest that everybody do their own research. And I'm looking forward to taking questions at the end of this, and I really appreciate Stuart and Kirk for coming on and giving us their sense. And I think that as people become educated and they learn more and more about this, they will become part of each one of these individual solutions, not just through the Fed. But thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Dr. Davis, and again, Kirk Elliott and Stuart Rhodes. I'd now like to introduce our next presenter, Tim Cox. Tim Cox is the founder of GOOOH.com. That is the GetOutOfOurHouse.com, Get Out of Our House Revolution. The Get Out of Our House program is not a political party. It's not a party, it's a process. And it's a brilliant system that's being implemented thanks to the work of Tim Cox and many other great patriots that he's generated and amassed and put together throughout this country to restore Washington, the House of Representatives, with citizen candidates who will uphold the Constitution. And I'd like to introduce to everybody Mr. Tim Cox. Thank you, Tim.
Hey, thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay, too?
Yes, we can, Tim. Everything's fine.
All right, well, great. We've heard some pretty heavy stuff. It's hard for me personally to comprehend all of that, and determining what's true and what's not. It's just mind-boggling. For me, this goes way back. Back in 2004, I moved to a little town called Liberty Hill, Texas, and it started a chain of events that have led me to be right here today. I'll spare you guys the history of how I got here. But for me, even back in 2004, it was obvious that we were on an unsustainable path. 2005 was a terrible year for me. I went through a sequence of life events that ultimately led me to quit my job and abandon my career and put everything I have into this system that we've created called GO, Get Out of Our House. Now, GO is unique. You have to think about things differently. It is not a party. So everybody always wants to say, oh, this is a third party, but it's not that. I like to say that first. GO is a process. It's a way for us to change the government of this country exactly in the way our founding fathers intended. They were brilliant people. If you go back and read about the folks there and consider all that they gave, they were just brilliant. And they created the greatest form of government ever known to man because they knew that this day right here would come. There's a quote from Samuel Adams, somewhere around 1776. He said, "If ever a time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in our government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruin." And I believe that those founding fathers and Samuel Adams, when he said that, they were talking to those of us right here on this call right now, and they wanted us to hear that message, and they wanted us to say, hey, the vain and aspiring men, they have taken over. And whether they're in Congress or they're in the, controlling the Fed or wherever they are, we all know that it is vain and aspiring men that are running this country. And their call to action was for we, the experienced patriots, to prevent its ruin. That was the exact quote. And what they did, they created the greatest form of government ever known to man so we could do exactly what we were proposing with GO. And that is to replace every single member of the United States House of Representatives one day, one election. Now, I don't for a second believe that we would actually replace all 435 on day one, but the system is set up so that we can do that. And what GO is going to do, it's going to allow its members, and every person in America is invited to join us, to choose a true citizen representative in their district. We will fund that candidate in such a way that they can win, and we will compete in 435 probably primaries beginning in 2012. Now, I say probably because what GO is going to do is let the members of each district choose a candidate without the good old boy two-party system. They're going to choose this candidate without special interest money, and they're going to choose somebody just like one of the people that's on the call tonight, either speaking or listening, to go and represent their district. We have a very unique way to do that. I'm going to explain it to you, and I encourage everybody that's out there to give this system a try. You can go online and sign up and participate in a session via phone, or you can find a session in your local district and participate there. The way GO works is like this, and again, it's important to point out, GO is not a party, it's a process for selecting and funding candidates. So what we want everybody in America to do is go to our website. It's called go.com.